Hey, do you want to know how to grow citrus trees in containers? If so, that's what we're talking about today. All right, the first thing you want to be aware of, the type of soil that you're going to use, potting mix. Now, this potting mix, it already says that it's good for the container. So this is for container gardening. And this is very coarse. The soil is a coarse soil. I like to call it perennial soil because it has soil in here, but it has the broken wood chips and things like that. And that's what is going to be needed for my container. It's going to help with proper drainage because you don't want to have your citrus tree, no matter what it is, you don't want to have it in a lot of water. So this soil is going to help with making sure that the water drains through. And this is a different bag that I had on my thumbnail. I reached out to a local citrus grower, a nursery in my area, and I think it'll be best for you to do the same thing because the climates may be different. So what better way to do is just to ask someone who specializes in growing citrus trees. So that's what I did. That's why I made the change. And this is what he uses, and he's been gardening, owning the citrus nursery for over 20 to 30 years. So that's why I decided to do it. And also, it has its own fertilizer. I'm still going to add fertilizer in it. I'm probably going to put about a cup. Now, with the fertilizer, I normally have citrus tone because it's right for the citrus tree, but this is closely linked with the items that are inside of the citrus tone. But since I don't have it, I'm going to use this as my backup, but I normally do citrus tone. All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the pots. Now, most gardeners, they can use several different pots. I know a lot of gardeners, they use plastic, which I'm going to use, and they also use clay. There are some other options out there for you. Now, if you're going to use a clay pot, one thing you may take under consideration is if you look at the bottom of the clay pot, they normally only have a one small hole or one decent sized hole, but if that hole gets clogged up, you're gonna have problems with root rot. So if I was you, if you're gonna use the clay pot, make sure you put some gravel down first and then apply your soil. All right, so the other benefits that I think, the reason why I'm using the plastic is because it's real light. When I put the soil in here and the tree grows, it's going to be even easier. Whereas if I have a heavier pot to start out with, next thing is cheaper, and the plastic always have more than one hole, so it's going to allow for better drainage. All right, so we're going to go ahead and put the soil in the pot so we can go ahead and pot this up. All right, so this shouldn't take that long. And I'm making a mess. Open that up a little bit more. And I want to make sure that I leave some space so that I can slide this in. Now, if you see this pot, this is what I got from the nursery. It is quite small, so I want to make sure that I have enough space so the roots can branch out. And what I'm gonna do now, I'm gonna go ahead and apply some of my fertilizer in, and then I'm gonna mix it in with the soil. A little more. And so when I get ready to take this out, I want to rub the sides like this to loosen it out. And if you look, the soil is basically just like this soil. You have the wood chips all throughout the soil. Now I'm just gonna gently massage the roots like that, and I want to make sure that I do not bury the top part. A lot of these trees have been grafted on, so you don't want to go over the graft. So you want to measure it just right. I'm gonna have to take it out a little bit, add some more soil. All right, And all I'm gonna do now is fill all around the plant, the tree, excuse me. I had to repot this citrus tree. It's been in my house for a while, ever since it got cold. And I should have already repotted this a long time ago. But I wanna make sure I get it in now. And make sure you fill all the gaps. And you want to make sure that your citrus tree is in the center of your pot. You don't want it to grow crooked. So I'm just pressing down a little firmly. And what I'm going to do before I fill it all the way in, I'm going to take some more fertilizer and go around the tree. All right, now you want to make sure you get the fertilizer in, because normally in January and February, the trees start to flower. All right. Now I know I'm not going to allow any lemons to form because my tree is so young. But after they flower, that's when I'll add some more fertilizer as well, probably around May or June, and that's going to help with setting fruit. All right, so I have that in. Now we're going to go to the next step. All right, so now that we've already repotted my Meyer Lemon tree, I want to make sure I water it in good. And this is going to help with the air pockets. And like I said, my Meyer Lemon tree, it was pretty dry, because right now I'm keeping it in the house, but it's still winter time. All right, so now that I just got finished watering, I just got to make sure that I don't overwater it, because I don't want the tree, the roots, to get root rot. So there are some tools that you can use. You can go to the store and buy some of the moisture meters, but I don't use those. I just use my finger, and I'll just put my finger in the first inch or so, and if that's real dry, bone dry, then I know to go ahead and water it again. So you can go and buy the meters, but I just use my index finger, and then that's how I'll tell if it's getting dried out or not. All right, so that is going to be very important. Just make sure you don't overwater it, and it could be tricky because of the type of pots that you're using, the temperature that you have in your house. If you are bringing it inside, like I have to bring mine inside. All right, now your citrus tree, you want to make sure that it gets enough lighting. So you got to make sure that it gets anywhere from 8 to 12 hours of lighting. I know that may be difficult in the winter time, but if you're keeping it in the house, you want to make sure that you have a south-facing window, because all the sunlight will be in that direction for the longest amount of time. So if you don't have enough sunlight, and in the wintertime the sunlight may not be as strong, and I can see I got some of my colors that's starting to lighten up, so I got to make sure that I provide additional light inside. So you got to get your artificial lighting set up, and I got to put more light towards mine as well. So just make sure that you can have a light hanging over it inside, so it can give it that needed boost that it needs to stay green. All right, so keep that in mind. And lastly, with the temperature, these citrus trees can handle anywhere down from about 32 degrees. But if you have this in a pot, chances are if it gets down that low outside, you want to go ahead and bring it inside. And I made the mistake 2 years ago. I had a Meyer Lemon tree about this size. I went ahead and planted it in the ground. It's over there now. It's not doing so well because of that cold snap we had, even though I covered it up. So with this plant, I'm gonna let this grow up until it's strong enough to be able to withstand the temperatures in my area. I'm down south, so it still gets a little cold in the wintertime, but once this tree gets a bigger size, I will be able to plant in ground. And in these pots, then the tree is not going to grow real large. They will have some size to it, but they grow a lot larger in ground. So when this tree is old enough, I won't make that same mistake. Then I will go ahead and put my tree into the ground. But if you have to keep your tree in the house for a couple months because of your climate, then you just have to bring it in and out and know when the temperature drops. Go ahead and take it inside, or you will have to cover your tree outside. All right, so these are the tips that I have for growing my Meyer lemon tree. If I miss some steps, miss Georgia peach nut, if I miss anything, please let me know so I can keep my tree alive and we can help everybody else keep theirs alive and well too. All right, this is Gardening with Bear Brown. Thanks for watching my channel, and just remember, grow something tasty. I'll see you next time. Bye.